If you're anything like me, a guy that used to be skinny and just wants to look good on the mirror, you've probably identified yourself with one of these types of archetypes of a skinny guy. And you've identified yourself with these archetypes to the point where you make excuses that you can't make any progress at all. And you know what's the crazy part? The crazy part is that all of these problems can be easily fixed with a few mindset shifts and like a few tips and tricks, basically. And you can finally stop delaying your progress. Okay. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what type of skinny guy you are, what are you supposed to do with this information, and how are you supposed to stop being this skinny guy. Without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. And the first type of the skinny guy that I'm going to be talking about is the one that I'm most guilty of for most of my lifting journey, which I will call myself as the hard worker. Basically, the person who tracks all their lifts, that tracks all their PRs. They obsess over the PRs, they obsess over the most recent studies that says that, oh, lengthened partials are the best method and the exercise technique that you should be using in order to activate the most amount of muscle growth. And you always obsess about the latest studies about sets and reps. Basically, you program hop, you research about what's the best amount of volume for each muscle group and which is the best program in order to maximize the amount of muscle that you can make. And that used to be me, right? I used to think that I'm a smart guy, but I just have a lot of head knowledge, but I don't really have the results that I want to speak for myself, right? And this meme really summarizes what I wanted to say. Like, the beginner doesn't know what an upper lower split is, and the advanced lifter that's probably really jacked just doesn't really know what an upper lower split is. Well, that's really a hyperbolic like meme. Like obviously, like the more advanced lifters will know, like at least know like what an upper lower split is. My main point is that most of them don't even really care about how much they eat. Literally, there's one friend in my gym, and he can bench like 160 kilograms for reps. And I was literally so bewildered and so I was so amazed, like how can you actually do that? And he told me like, oh, I asked him like, do you follow any program? And he told me like, no, I don't really follow any programs. And I asked him like, oh, do you like track your calories and all that? And he said, no, I just eat whatever I like. And life is short. Life is short, bro. I just eat whatever you want, bro. YOLO. And I was like, no way, bro. No wonder he's so jacked and he live more than me. And I told him like, no way, bro. You probably have really, really good genetics. Show me a picture of yourself before you went to the gym. And he showed me a picture of himself. And he literally looks like a skinny kid like me. And like at that point I was like, "Yeah, what the hell am I doing in my life, bro? Either this guy has top tier genetics that is untapped, or you just start retard maxing, bro. Like you can optimize every single thing in your training but still you won't see any results. This is what a lot of lifters, including myself, for the majority of my lifting journey is, right? So the analogy that I can give you is this three-legged stool, all right? That's like if you only polish one part of the stool, one of the legs, make it made out of titanium, make it as shiny as possible, place it at the most optimal angle and the most optimal part of the chair, just so that you can stabilize the chair as best as possible. But if the other two legs are not polished or even taken care of, the chair is just gonna fall down. And it's basically exactly the same as bodybuilding or building muscle in general. The three main pillars of bodybuilding is your training, your nutrition, as well as your recovery. And I don't blame you if you used to be this kind of skinny guy, but you only care about what is the best training method because social media likes to emphasize about the new training methods that gives you the most optimal results. But they forget about the less glamorous parts like eating more and also sleeping better. Right. I always feel like I'm gonna like burp or something. I'm sorry if I feel like I'm holding back my voice, but I really don't want to do that. Okay. So the lesson for these types of skinny guys is that you basically have to dial in your training, your nutrition, and your recovery. If I'd rather have like a 7 out of 10 out of all of these three main pillars than have a 10 out of 10 nutrition or a 10 out of 10 training or 10 out of 10 recovery, but all the other pillars are not even taken care of, right? And if you feel like you need any help in terms of, you know, the three main pillars of bodybuilding, which I preach a lot in my channel, there's a link in the description to find out what is your bottleneck in your training or your nutrition or your recovery. If you have not been seeing any progress, you can book a call with me. The link is in the description if that's something that you're interested in, right? If you dial in any of this, all of these three main pillars, it is impossible for you not to build any muscle. And this is what I'm going to get into my next point, right? Even though if you dial in on three of your main pillars of bodybuilding, if if you have this mindset, which is the next type of skinny guy that I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be very, very hard for you to see any progress in the gym and hit new PRs, right? This is the type of skinny guy which I would call the fast metabolism guy, the guy that swears that he can't gain any weight no matter how much he eats. He always says that, oh, I lose weight fast, bro, and I can't seem to gain weight no matter what. At the very most principle level, right? What actually is like metabolism is basically the chemical functions in your body that allows your body to basically function, right? And a lot of factors affect your fast metabolism, such as your gender, your age, your height, and the amount of activity you do every week, right? For taller guys, you basically have to eat more. There's no way around it. And it doesn't really vary that much. It maybe like it varies around like 500 kilograms from the average, which can be easily fixed by just eating a few more like slices of bread or basically one more scoop of rice, right? And that used to be me last time. I started working out around June 2022, and as you can see from this photo, like 6 months in, there's really nothing like impressive about this physique. Not to like downplay myself, but at this point of my fitness journey, I've been getting a lot of compliments about like, oh, your shoulders got broader, bro, or your arms got bigger, right? And yeah, I mean, 6 months in, you get a lot of newbie gains. But as I was working out even more, right, this is me 2 years in, like 1.5 years after that previous photo. And I thought that you can see that there's muscle definition and I look lean in this photo. But as I was scrolling through on Instagram, I swear to you, bro, like I saw one guy that looks way more jacked than me. And the most crazy part is that he has been training in the same amount of time as me, and he has the same starting point as me, and he's getting more PRs than me. Like I'm talking about like 100 kg, 12 reps of 100 kg type of PRs, bro. Like I was thinking like, what is this guy doing, bro? What am I even doing in my life? It's the same thing as like the friend that I met in the gym. And yeah, man, at this point I already knew that I was doing something wrong, right? And this is the point. At this point of my lifting journey, I have been giving myself excuses like, oh, I just have a fast metabolism, bro. That's why I couldn't gain any more muscle. Which in actuality, I tweaked this one small little thing, which changed everything from this point on forward. And once I started doing that, once I started making the change, I started seeing more results. As you can see from this video, the difference is night and day, right? Nice profile picture right there. No, I mean like wallpaper. And hold up. It is me right now. In quite recently in during October. And yeah, let me show you an angle, somewhat the same angle as the previous photo. As you can see, bro, like maybe it's just the angle, but you can clearly tell that my shoulders got bigger and my arms got huge, bro. And this isn't even my peak physique, by the way. It is my peak bulk, and I look bloated. My body fat percentage is high and all that. But once I cut down, I probably look more leaner and my abs will be more like visible. I think you get the point. So the most important thing that you should be doing as a skinny guy that has a fast metabolism, if that's what you want to label yourself as, is that you need to start tracking your calories. It's literally what I did from this photo to the video that I just showed you just now. I just started tracking my calories instead of assuming how much I'm eating, right? And once you start tracking your calories, you start to realize how much you're actually not eating. Well, obviously there's other factors like eating enough protein and all that, which is very important as well, which I've talked about in my previous videos as well. And yeah, it all of this boils down to tracking your calories. It's really that simple. And you might think that this is very like arduous. There's a lot of things that comes into tracking your calories, and I don't want to do it every single day. Which brings me to the next type of a skinny guy, which is the inconsistent starter, right? This type of skinny guy, he basically just eats he does everything perfectly during the first day, but gets burned out the second day, right? He eats 5,000 calories a day. He makes sure that his his diet is dialed in during the first day. I'm going to eat as much eggs as possible. I'm going to eat as much protein as possible. I'm going to train every set to failure. And I'm going to sleep by 10 p.m. tonight and wake up at 6 a.m. to get the most amount of sleep, right? And then the next day, they think about the stuff that they have done yesterday. They think about how hard is it, and it just and their mind just goes blank. Like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine myself doing this for the next few months, and they just stop trying in general. You see, the real problem isn't that your goals aren't big enough to motivate you. It isn't about the food that you're eating. There's no magical food that can help you bulk up as fast as possible. This is not because of your bad meal plan. I would even go as far as to say that it's not that you're not eating enough. It really all boils down to your approach to bulking in general. And yeah, I think you probably saw it a little bit just now. So there's two approaches to solve this problem of being an inconsistent starter, right? When you think about drinking 1 gallon of water every day, that's around like 2.2 liters of water every single day. Would you rather drink 1.1 liters 2 times a day, or would you rather drink a few cups sparingly throughout the day, which ultimately leads you to drinking 1 gallon of water every day? You probably want to go with the first approach, sorry, the second approach, right? Because if you were to drink two, wait, 1.1 liters in one go, right? Look at this bottle, bro. It looks so big. It's almost as big as my head. And if I want to drink like half of it in one go, I'll probably feel so bloated by the end of the first time I drink it. I don't even feel like drinking water for the next 5 hours, right? You'll probably be peeing a lot as well. So yeah, look at this bottle, bro. Like it's as big. This is literally 1 gallon, a water bottle that can hold 1 gallon of water, right? It goes down from my waist to my chest. It's really, really big. So most skinny guys or most people just do it like approach one, where they think they think about like, oh, I really want to get everything right the first time, right? The real problem isn't about that you're not a consistent person. The real problem is that you're only thinking about the end goal. You only want to you're thinking about I want to reach the end goal as fast as possible. When in fact, if you think about it, if you want to reach your end goal as fast as possible, you're only thinking about what are the best things that you can do now, and you just like brute force your way and go head first in. But it isn't something that's sustainable, right? The most important thing is that you should be doing small daily actions every single day that will ultimately lead you to become the person, to build the character, to build the habits that will ultimately lead you to building more muscle and getting more PRs, right? So that's basically the same thing as approach two. You just drink a few cups sparingly throughout the day, right? And that can be, for example, in terms of bulking, that can be as small as drinking an extra cup of milk per day. Like instead of drinking water during your lunch break, you can probably drink an extra cup of milk. Or you can cook up 4 to 5 eggs a day. You know, maybe like cooking a few eggs and like washing the pan and everything will take like an extra 15 minutes a day, which it can add up. It actually adds up, you know. All of these small habits will actually add up to you gaining more weight and hitting more PRs, right? Which can be a video of its own, but this is like the main overview of what I want to say. But the very good thing about all of the archetypes that I've mentioned just now is that they're actually trying, you know, they actually want to get better, and at least they're taking the first step. Unlike this type of skinny guy, which is which I would call the overthinker. Basically, the guy that has a lot of head knowledge but does not have any results to back it up. And really, what they're saying is that normal excuse that the overthinker always gives is that, oh, I'll think about it. You know, and you know what? I'll think about it. Like going to the gym is very nice. You know, having the physique is nice. But you know what? I'll think about it. Maybe after I do X, Y, Z, then I'll only start doing this. I mean, to be fair, like maybe your reason is valid. Like life happens, and a lot of like unexpected things can happen. But most of the time, what you're really saying is that this goal isn't really important enough to you, to the point where you actually invest time and money into it, right? This is the worst type of skinny guy to become, or any guy in general. Because if you've already been thinking about wanting to have a nice physique, but you don't do anything about it, it just says that you're indecisive. You can't even have the courage to take the first step. You see, you can't build momentum without any action. And it all boils down, the root cause of all of this is that you have a fear of failure, right? You don't want to spend too much money or time because you're scared that even though if you try, you probably wouldn't see any results. That is the real reason of your overthinking. It's not because you don't have enough knowledge. It's not because you don't have the right coach or you don't have the right diet plan or whatever. It really all boils down to you not even wanting to try, not even wanting to try or taking the first step at all. It is your perfectionism disguised as an excuse for a lack of execution. A pretty harsh truth over that. But think about it this way. In chess, the white piece always has to move first. Now imagine if the person with the white piece has been thinking about the first move for like 5 hours already. I mean, like in a chess match, like that's already way past the time limit. But at that point, you have to make a move in order for the game to progress. It's the real it reflects the real life scenario of the cost of inaction, right? The real cost of inaction isn't that your money or time will be wasted. It is staying skinny for 3 more years and regretting that you could have done something about it, which actually is very, very easy to fix, right? It's as easy as just taking the first step, right? The longer you wait, the longer you're delaying the inevitable. Life is not free from any mistakes. Accept that you will make them and move on quickly, right? Start building momentum today if you're not, all right? And then next, the last type of skinny guy that I want to talk about, which really resonates with a lot of people, is the invisible guy, basically. Like, you imagine like you have a friend that has a younger brother that's really skinny, or you can just tell that this guy doesn't have confidence, right? And being around him just makes you feel like, bro, can you just have more confidence? I mean, it's not to say like, oh, come on, Timothy, you feel like somebody else has to be better just because you're better. No, no, no. It's just that you can do much more in your life than being just this small timid guy, right? And I used to be this kind of person. Like I'm saying this out of love. I'm not saying this out of hate or anything. But because I used to be this type of guy where a lot of people don't respect me. And it really all boils down to a mixture of low self-esteem, low self-belief, bad mental health because you have very bad internal dialogue. Where you say things like, oh, I hate myself. Maybe you made a mistake and you say, oh, I'm so stupid, bro. How could I have done that? That was so cringe. Or whatever the case might be. And mind you, you can even have this type of stuff going on in your head, even if you're jacked, right? It doesn't really, it's not like, give up is Proverbs 18, verse 21, which is life and death by the power of tongue, and whoever loves its fruits will live by it, or something. Let me go check it out to get my Bible facts, get my Bible facts true. Like death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So yeah, basically, the most important part about this process is that you have to start acting like the person that you want to become. The most important thing is just that tell yourself that you want to be this type of person and start acting like it so that you can prove to yourself that you can become this kind of person. That's how I built myself from being the invisible guy to being somebody that's somewhat well more respected by the community around me, basically. And if you feel like you've identified yourself with any of these type of skinny guy and you feel like you need help, there's a link in the description where, I can help you find out what your bottleneck is, and I can see what I can do to help you from there. And yes, that's really all I got to say for this video. I really hope you found a lot of value in it, and take care, man. That's all I got to say. Bye bye.